Hello, all the fish of the sea, and welcome to my fish tank. I am Fish Asmo, otherwise known as B. I am just going to briefly be talking about my school experience, because by the things I say alone, people in my school district will automatically know that it was me. So, keeping it very vague for a reason, I hope you understand, but enjoy. Now, my elementary school experience actually wasn't that bad, and kids didn't know how to be mean at the time, obviously. And I had a handful of friends at the time. I was very friendly. I didn't get in trouble a lot. I didn't cause issues. I was all around a goody two shoes. The only time which I had gotten some issues in elementary school is later on towards the end of the elementary schooling grades. I had some issues with teachers and my guidance counselor, which left me to leave and begin homeschooling. After homeschooling the rest of elementary school, I had gone to public middle school because I thought it'd be better just, the same classmates, which I didn't have an issue with at the time, but different teachers and different guidance counselor and different adults around me, basically. It wasn't that good, and I struggled a bit in a lot of classes because I came back in the middle of a school year, and teachers really didn't want to help me for some reason. I don't know why. I was an awkward kid who didn't cause issues at all. Still, I had to end up crying about math homework whenever I got home, and I cried about art class even because the teacher didn't help me out. But in the end, the pandemic happened, which led me back to homeschooling and then also some online schooling. After getting done with my middle school education, I had prepared myself for public high school because I thought it'd just be easier to go ahead and do that. Middle school, those years were part of the worst of my life. Gonna be quite frank with ya. With that, I did get some assistance with that, but not a lot, I clearly had some issues, but that wasn't very clear to everyone else, including me. However, I had started high school with a new light to my eyes. And with that new light, I was feeling quite good, honestly. If you are in high school, you know how that goes. My high school wasn't the best. My whole school district has a reputation of not being the best around. However, I didn't think it turned out this bad, and neither did a lot of people, I don't think. I was bullied. I had a mean girl pretend to be friends with me. I had videos and pictures taken of me in the middle of Spanish class, paper balls thrown at me in the middle of a class, and the teacher did nothing about it, which, maybe I didn't speak up enough about it, but whatever, we move on. I had talked to the principal about my bullying. He did nothing about it either. I struggled a lot in my classes because of the classmates around me. I still cried over math. I cried over science. I cried over history. I cried over anything besides art. That ended up with me doing something to myself, which obviously led me to the hospital. Going from the hospital to a place for my mental health, I'd stayed there for 7 whole days, which is an experience on its own. On the car ride home, I was obviously allowed by one of my parents to continue online schooling. I didn't want to complete that either, since my mental health was obviously still in shambles. But in the end, I eventually had gotten enough education to go to an adult education program to getting my high school equivalency diploma. My adult education program was entirely free for me. It was funded by the state. There's people my age, older, younger, and even some people in their 30s and even more. I started this program whenever I was 17 years old at the end of 2025, and by the beginning of March 2026, whenever I was 18 years old, I had gotten my diploma. Now, anyone who is interested, I will let you know that some insurance are available to pay for your test, but if not, you can pay out of pocket. It was only $120 in my state at least, and I passed all of them on the first go round. To retake the test, it costed a couple of bucks. Even more, at least, with the program that I went with, and in my state, it may be different state to state. Out of the US, I obviously don't know how that will go for you, and I recommend you research on your own if you have dropped out of high school. But of course, anytime someone completes high school and is 18 years old, they get asked, what are you going to do now? And my answer, in all honesty, even if it is cliche, is why do I have to know right now? Maybe I just want to work for a bit, and in 2 years I'll go to college, because that's what they want to hear. They want to hear you going to college. They want to hear you being on a path to a certain thing. But in this day and age, as cliche as it may seem, it's not what will you do, it's really what can you do with the job market, the wars going on, world pollution, the drinking water going to waste, and noise pollution also, global warming, just everything under the sun. Because what I want to do, I want to go to college and be a marine biologist or an aquarist, taking care of sea life, or just in general researching into ecosystems and how they thrive. But with how discouraging these times can be, even if I stick to my art as a job, that also doesn't look too good for me. You can imagine how I feel about generative AI and just AI in general not used as a tool to assist people who really need it. I do feel a bit disappointed and disgusted with how the world is. The world's leaders, the people in control. I don't really talk about it a lot online, but it is a big part of my day-to-day life in person. And it feels nice to have an escape, but of course, you're never going to have an escape forever. It may hurt to say that, but sometimes you got to face what is really going on. You can't really be in this not acknowledging your surroundings moment for a long time. And you may be asking, what does this have to do with your ranting and rambling about your school experience and what you're gonna do now? It is a big part of it, because really, what am I going to do now besides want to change things? That is what I am going to do now. I'm going to dream big, and maybe I can't accomplish it, but I want to affect these things around me, even if it's a tiny bit, to stand with people who have the same mindset as me, at least somewhat, on this certain opinion. We may not agree with a lot of things, but if they agree with this, then, we can stand for this thing together. And I hope people kinda come to understand what I'm trying to get across here. But, you may not. You may have just been having this play in the background and not really paying attention to it. But, I hope you enjoyed either way. I will see you probably in a couple months. I don't usually post a lot in general on any account besides my Instagram stories. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye bye, little fishies. I hope you enjoy your time back out at sea.